Hola, ciao, what's good? I am Kelly Paratelli. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your time and energy today. Any support is appreciated on my YouTube channel. Subscriptions, likes, comments, liking of other people's comments, subscribing to my channel, and especially views are very important to my channel growth. I am on the road to 1,000 subscribers with the goal of monetizing my YouTube channel. I do post one short every day, which are less than 60 seconds, and I try to do that every evening. And then I try to do one regular video at least once a week. That's kind of my goal. So today's beautiful video is going to be how not to get scammed in Cancun, Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula, specifically Garza Blanca Elite Diamond Resort and Spa Hotel, because I don't want anybody else to get scammed. I've documented several times on this YouTube channel already with videos, shorts, and pictures of my trip earlier this year in January 2023. My sister Melissa and I, we celebrated my 34th birthday in Cancun, Mexico in the Yucatan Peninsula. It was a really wonderful time. Overall, you know, we had good sun, we had good weather, we had a good time. So all on that same trip, it's actually interesting because the Garza Blanca video that I currently have on my YouTube channel is actually the fastest trending video with the most views on my channel yet. It's actually my only video on YouTube that currently has 1,000 views, over 1,000 views. Every other video is under 1,000. And it's a really beautiful video that I made, more so documenting, capturing, and videoing and taking beautiful photographs of this hotel because, you know, it's a very beautiful, famous, iconic, touristy area in the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico where Cancun is. What I want people to know is, it's crazy because I have a friend who recently went to Mexico, and I did this in January, and I actually intended to post this video a long time ago, and I kind of forgot. So I remember thinking back in January, earlier this year, that I really wanted to make a second video. I wanted to do one just showcasing, highlighting the hotel, because at first they told us, you know, it's owned by real Mexican people, which is kind of part of the bait, like taking the bait to come check it out, right? I remember thinking back then I wanted to do two videos. I wanted to do one, the video I already have, which is a beautiful video with background music that is copyright free, showing the photos in the videos, the real clips and pictures that I took while my sister and I were there. And then I wanted to do a second video about how not to get scammed in Garza Blanca's hotel in the Cancun area, right? So I made the first video and I was careful with my wording, but if you watch the clips of that Garza Blanca video, in between. So we're at a luxury resort in Cancun that's owned by real Mexican people, and it is a luxury resort and spa. I've never seen anything like it. It looks out over the ocean, the Caribbean, and the Gulf on the other side, and here you're going to see the water behind me, and that is the Isla Mujeres, which is the women's island, which we will be going to shortly. And you can see the beautiful view. Peace. It starts out with really awesome music where you kind of want to dance, right? It's copyright free, like from Epidemic Sound, which is what I use to get copyright free music for my channel for background music. But it goes into sort of like me documenting, sort of like a reporter, which is kind of what I do on my channel. Like, I don't really market and advertise, although I'm not totally against it. I'm still kind of exploring what that would mean for me on YouTube. But I mostly document, photograph, and take videos of my travel adventures, my vlogs. I do photography, I do writing, and I'm mostly doing like reviews and live entertainment and art events, and so, but I'm mostly just documenting, almost like a neutral reporter, right? But I do say my own personal experiences, and I do vlog, and I do talk about my life also. So it's a little bit of both, but specifically from just me, myself, and I, Kelly Paratelli. And so basically, I was making the first video as sort of like an a review of the hotel, so to speak. A basic review capturing and documenting what we experienced there, right? So I was careful in my wording in the original video that has over 1,000 views. We're taking a tour of this timeshare all-star resort in Mexico in Cancun because we are part of a ticket to get to the island, Las Mujeres, Isla Mujeres, which is Women's Island. So now we're taking a tour of this 5-star resort, and it is a diamond resort. It is unbelievable. It is about $700 a night for the smallest studio, and typically ranging well over 1,000. They told me it was 10,000 for the week, but it is over the top, lavish, bougie, fancy, super nice. And they said that we might see celebrities here because the richest, most elite 1% people come here. I carefully say, you know, this is a timeshare all-star elite resort. I use the word timeshare in that video because if you know what that is, if you know what they mean, if you know how they work, then you would have an idea of what I was talking about. And if you know, you know. Now, if you want to know what a timeshare is, obviously in the age of Google information age, you can go online and look it up. But I highly recommend you watch John Oliver. He has an HBO channel called Last Week Tonight on HBO, and he actually, HBO, you know, costs money to have, but he actually does all of it released on YouTube. He has all of it listed there for free, every episode, full episodes of Last Week Tonight with John Oliver. He has them all for free on YouTube. So I highly recommend you go search Timeshares, John Oliver, Last Week Tonight show on YouTube, and you can watch for free. And he goes into details with examples about what a timeshare is and how much of a scam it is, and how there's even, it's such a deeply embedded scam in our United States system and culture that of the corporate world, that they literally have created like whole companies in the United States just to get you out of whatever mess the timeshares got you into financially or otherwise, right? So I highly recommend you watch that so you know what a timeshare is. Many of you may know already, but it's a huge scam. It's very time consuming. They make you listen to all of their spiels and sales pitches, and imagine like going into the grocery store or you know, when you go into the department store or in the mall or something, and they're trying to prevent theft, and so the first thing they do is come right to you. You know, it's one of my pet peeves, like, cause I do sales and marketing low-key, like freelance work, and I'm doing real estate photography now, you know, and it's a personal pet peeve of mine when people just come at you and approach you and like charge at you the moment you come in the door trying to sell you something, you know, instead of like trying to figure out who you are and what you actually want. Just let me browse, you know what I'm saying? Just let me freely walk around, and if I choose to buy something, you know, that's how it is in America. But I've talked about this on my YouTube channel already. In places like Peru, South America, in Europe, in Mexico, they don't have the same culture when it comes to selling things like that and buying things like that as we do in the US, where you only go to buy something when you know you want it. Whereas in these other countries, they're constantly coming at you trying to sell you something. So it's actually really common everywhere else in the world if you've traveled to other countries where they do this. I actually have videos of it in my YouTube videos about South America where they did it in Peru. But yeah, so basically the thing you need to know about Garza Blanca, how not to get scammed, is just this last month in August, one of my good friends who I've traveled to Europe with and who lives here in Michigan, he actually went on vacation in the Yucatan Peninsula and actually got scammed by the same timeshare at Garza Blanca Resort that me and Melissa did, and I really don't want anybody else to get scammed. Basically what you need to know is outside Cancun, there's a beautiful island called Isla Mujeres, which translates in English to, you know, Women's Island. And I've already made videos about it on my YouTube channel with pictures and videos and talked about it. But basically, and I think I alluded to this without going into detail about how much of a scam it actually was, but there's boat tickets that you have to take and purchase to get from the mainland of Cancun, the ports that are outside the city of Cancun, to the island of Isla Mujeres, right? And I said this in one of my other videos, but I didn't tie it into the whole timeshare scam yet at Garza Blanca, right? I said in the other video, you need to buy your ticket at the port. You need to buy your ticket, because if you try to buy it online, they will sucker you into a package deal. You'll end up spending way more money than you wanted. You won't have clear instructions. And when it comes to Cancun, it's like no other online purchasing system I've ever experienced as a traveler, and you will get scammed. So I already said this, like, go buy your tickets in person at the ticket stands at the port before you're about to get on the boat to go to Isla Mujeres. Do not buy them online, and do not get scammed by Garza Blanca. So my experience with the timeshare scam with Garza Blanca is we were in the mall at Isla Mujeres Mall in Cancun, Mexico, which I have another video of us watching the sunset and drinking a margarita in some shorts in that spot, right, in Cancun. It's on the main strip of Cancun, so it's a very touristy area, and they're coming all up to you trying to sell you stuff, right? So it was like a little stand in the middle of the mall, and in America, we're very familiar with these. Like, we have like Sunglass Hut little stands where individual proprietors will sell things at the mall, you know, in their own little stand in their cart. Well, they had that at the mall in Isla Mujeres in Mexico, because it's set up kind of like the U.S. because it's very touristy. It's Cancun. It's very Americanized there. It's not like the rest of Mexico, you know. So these guys had their own stand, and they were coming at people who were walking in the mall trying to sell them something the same way that they do in these other countries, you know, in the markets and stuff. And so they came up to us and they said, we have a package deal for you to get a ticket to Isla Mujeres, to get a golf cart included when you get to the island, to have transportation, because you can't really drive cars on the island. Most people don't have them unless you live there or you live in Cancun, and you can get a license for one, but you can't really rent a car on the island. You could only rent bikes or golf carts. And Melissa had her service dog, and it would have been a lot of walking for her, so we wanted a golf cart, you know what I mean? Whereas other people did walk. But basically they told us that if we went to Garza Blanca, that there was this new resort coming up in Cancun owned by real Mexican people, and if you want to support local businesses, we have a package deal right now to get you to the island, to get a ticket, to get a golf cart. But all you'd have to do to get the ticket at a discounted price with a package deal with the golf cart is come to Garza Blanca's hotel in the morning, have breakfast included, and listen to a sales spiel. They didn't say how long it would be. They didn't say how long it would take. I asked, and then they finally admitted that it might take a couple hours, right? So me and Melissa basically decided that we were going to eat the 2 hours, right, to listen to their sales pitches. And they were like, you don't have to buy into it. You don't have to say yes. You don't have to sign anything. They are going to ask you for some of your personal information, which I already do not like, right? But Melissa's like, okay, this is how they do things here. It's a touristy area. They do that in America. I know what a timeshare is. That's probably what we're going to get into, but we just say no. We just kind of listen. We get the free breakfast included, and we get our ticket at a discounted price. So she like kind of knew we were being played, but she's, you know, not going to be played at the same time if you know her, you know. So, like, she kind of knew what we were doing, and I knew what timeshares were, but I didn't know, like, what we were getting into. Like, I don't usually do stuff like that. I usually just get myself to the island. Like, if I had been by myself, I wouldn't have cared about the breakfast. I wouldn't have cared about the hotel. I wouldn't have, although it did make for a great video, so everything happens for a reason. #1 trending video. Anyway. The crazy thing is, before I made this video today, I asked my friend what happened to him, right? So I'm going to compare these two stories. What happened to us is, we got to Garza Blanca's elite diamond resort hotel where supposedly Beyonce stays, right? And we had a nice breakfast. It was a buffet. It was all high-end. It's a ridiculously fancy, stupid expensive resort. It's for the elites, which I'm not really about that life, right? So, but it made for great content on my channel. So we had the breakfast. We had a really nice guy, and he was a very nice man, and you could tell he was just like doing his job, you know. He knew, like, he knew, like, we weren't really into it. We weren't interested. We weren't going to say yes, but he probably has to deal with that all the time because that's his job. And he's probably used to people being really mean about it and getting irritated because they're so pushy about it and they keep monopolizing your time. So probably so many people were like really angry and were like irritated that they were being scammed, and it was hitting them that they had been scammed, and they were like, we're leaving. You know what I mean? And they were like, we're done, you know? So he was probably used to people being like that. But he was like, you girls are so nice. You ladies are so sweet. I'm so happy to have you here. You know, he was very nice to us. And Melissa kind of let him know she knew what was going on. You know what I mean? So anyways, we ended up sitting there. Okay, this is what happened. We had our breakfast. It took us to the top floor for a tour, which is part of the deal. You go and you look at the rooms, you look at the hotel rooms. I took pictures of them. They're on my channel. They give you a whole tour of the building. So we went to the top where that beautiful view is, looking out over the Caribbean Sea with the giant pool right up on the edge, you know, and all the palm trees and the beautiful seating and everything, and the windows at Garza Blanca. It is a beautiful hotel. But after we had the tour, they took us up on this balcony overlooking the whole thing in a private room, a meeting room with like a whiteboard where they go and have corporate meetings probably. And they laid out all this paperwork on a table, and literally we maybe were sitting there for 3.5 to 4 hours. Like, we could not get out of it. And after about 2 hours, I was so irritated. I was like telling Melissa, I'm like, I'm so pissed because I want to be to the island by now. And she's like, well, we'll just keep listening a little bit longer. She's like, I would maybe do it someday if I was rich. And I was like, how rich are you trying to get? So they're talking about you signing something away for a minimum of $30,000, and these hotel rooms are going for $10,000 a night. I'm like, I'm hot. We have to go, you know. I just wanted to get on the boat and go to Isla Mujeres, so I'm super irritated, right? And like, we tried nicely to say no so many times, and they just kept going. They kept pushing. They kept offering. They kept displaying. They kept showing. They were turning on PowerPoints. They were showing presentations. They were showing us all these documents they wanted us to sign. They asked for our phone number. I said I didn't want to give it. I told them I had a YouTube channel, and that's why I had a camera. And the guy was like really rude to me, and he was like, have you monetized it yet? And I was like, no. And Melissa was like really polite. But the moment I said to him, I am not interested, he completely disregarded my presence after that altogether and would not acknowledge me. As soon as I gave him the hard no, he completely ignored me and put all his attention toward Melissa, hoping that she would say yes. It was unreal how pushy they were. It was nuts. They were relentless. They would not stop. So finally, after maybe like 3.5 hours, we walked down, and I was like, Melissa, I need to get these boat tickets. We need to get on this boat. So we get up to the boat dock, and this is why I said this in my other videos. There's a ticket stand there, and the tickets were only slightly higher price than what we got in this package deal, this quote, great deal of the century, right, for this new hotel, which, okay, we had a breakfast, you know, by that time I was hungry again. But, so anyways, it did make for a great video, so that's why I reconciled of it, because it's my top trending video on YouTube is that Garza Blanca video, and it's a really great, engaging video with good music and really fire content. So, yeah, but like at the time I was really irritated, but we ended up going to Isla Mujeres in time, and we stayed till the evening, and it was a beautiful day, and as you can see, I made a beautiful video of it, and I really enjoyed it, and I felt that the whole thing happened for a reason. It was a learning experience, and now here I am making this video. Because my friend had just went there and I had forgot to make this video, I don't want it to happen to anyone else, so I'm going to make this now. So this is what he said happened to him. Instead of being approached in the middle of the mall, right, in the touristy strip of Cancun, Mexico, he was approached immediately upon exiting the airport. And this is what you need to know about the Cancun airport that we arrived in Mexico. there's limited security, and as soon as you step outside, there are tons of people. It's not like the airports in the US where we have big roads with big cars and big parking ramps. It's like nobody has cars like to the extent that we do in the US and any other country, really. There are a lot of cars in Mexico. They're smaller, but there's just not as many. And so for them, it was like all buses and trains and bikes and Vespas and things like that. And all these sales booths were set up outside the airport, and people were walking around selling their own products, freelance, independent, with stands like they do at the markets, you know, and like they did at the markets in South America. They were doing that right outside the airport in Mexico. They just laid all their stuff out on a cloth. They just pulled out a table out of their butt, and they were selling the things that they had made handmade, which I can't necessarily fault them for that. But it was that same thing where they were constantly coming at you. Ma'am, miss, do you want this? We have this. We're selling this beautiful jewelry. These pearls would look beautiful on you. Like constantly coming at you, which I already don't like, right? So that's what happened to my friend. He came outside the airport, and those Garza Blanca people, the same associates or, you know, other associates like the ones who sold us the tickets, you know, at the mall, they had another stand set up outside the airport, and that's how they approached him, and he bought it. He said he knew right away. He had a feeling it was also a scam, but that he'd be sucked into some sort of timeshare thing. But he was kind of like Melissa about it. Like he kind of knew it was happening. But the crazy thing is, for us, they told us there was going to be a golf cart included in our purchase, which there was not. We arrived at the island, and the company name he gave us to go pick up the golf cart from was not even an existing name on the island. So there was no one to pick up a supposed golf cart that we'd already paid for in our name, right? So we ended up having to pay an additional fee to rent a golf cart because we had our minds and hearts set on a golf cart, and we prepared for a golf cart because she brought her service dog, and we were going to walk miles and miles all the way around the island with her dog. And so, you know, we ended up paying more money, but I was like pissed at the time because even though we had a beautiful date, it made for a great video, I was like, we paid for this package and we wasted 4 hours sitting here talking to these people, listening to their sales pitch, and we didn't even get the golf cart that was supposed to be included. And Melissa's like, well, just pay the fee, you know what I mean? She was cool about it. But my friend who went to Mexico said he didn't even want the golf cart because he had a feeling that would happen, and they just preferred walking. But he wanted the free breakfast, he wanted to see the hotel, and he wanted to have an easier way to get to the island ticket. Not knowing also, like me, that there isn't a ticket stand. Like, we didn't know there was a ticket stand until we got there, because you cannot find those Isla Mujeres ferry tickets online. It's crazy. It's like the system is set up in Cancun for you to be scammed to get to that island. It's crazy. Like, but if you know, you know, because you can't find the information online. It's like, unless you get lucky and go on YouTube and find someone like me who's telling the true story, you won't be able to get these tickets online. It's crazy. So we didn't know until we got there, and neither did he. There's a ticket stand at the dock. All we had to do was get to the dock and buy the ticket, and we would have been on the island and not wasted 4 hours. But again, everything happens for a reason. Top trending video is Garza Blanca of mine. And now I'm making this video because just be aware of your surroundings. I want people to know what it is, right? So if you're like my friends and you don't mind wasting 2 to 4 hours of your time at an all-star elite resort, I mean, sure, it's really beautiful. Sure, you can tour it. Sure, you get a free breakfast. But I mean, it's a good chunk of your day if you're planning a travel itinerary and you have plans to go to that island and you'd rather spend your time there like I would have. Just know that if you buy into Garza Blanca's elite, locally owned by Mexican people scam, you're not going to get the golf cart that's included in your package like they said. You're going to waste a good chunk of your time having them try to hard sell you. And when I say hard sell, I mean the pushiest salesman you can imagine, because people in the U.S., we don't have that type of culture to that extent, right? Just being bombarded with sales pitches for like 3 to 4 hours and then not even getting your golf cart. Just know you don't have to do that if you don't want to. If you're trying to get to that island, just buy the ticket to the island, you know, on the ferry. Buy it at the dock before you get on the boat. It's right there at the ticket stand. And then just buy your golf cart when you get there, because you're not going to have luck online and you're not going to have luck with these package deals unless you don't mind sitting there for 4 hours of your time. So, real talk, it gave me like corporate 1% vibes when the guys were talking to me, and the way he completely disregarded my presence when I gave him a hard no was a real indication to me of what like their real priorities are. He wasn't even trying to fake the professional mask. Like, he just didn't care about me after that. It was crazy. So the one video is gonna stay how it is, and then this video is going to be how not to get scammed. And my advice is be very careful about your surroundings anytime you travel to another country. I'm not gonna say that it's unsafe. Some countries are safer than others for certain reasons. I mean, they don't have guns in Mexico like we do in the US, so you could argue that it's safer there. But when it comes to the countries that don't have guns, it often increases the likelihood of potential theft. And scams, you know, so it's very important to stay aware. You don't want to get pickpocketed. You want to wear, you know, something around you that's attached to you. Like, I don't hold purses in my hand when I go. I either have a backpack or a purse that's like a satchel that goes over my shoulder so it's on me and no one could just like rip it off, you know, or grab it out of my hand. I have pockets that are zip pockets. Like, I wear leggings that have pockets with zips, and they're like a tight zip. So it would be very hard to like unzip it and try to pickpocket me. I have secret compartments inside all my backpack and purses and stuff with inner zippers and stuff where I keep like special items, and I have other tips and tricks that I do to protect myself. But I recommend, you know, staying hydrated, drinking water, eating a healthy meal, not eating processed foods, getting a good night's sleep, you know, praying, manifesting, sending out good vibes and energy, whatever you believe in, to prepare yourself mentally for such a adventure as this and potential scams. So stay aware. Pay attention to your surroundings. I don't recommend like being on your phone while you're walking around. If you need to look stuff up on your phone, I usually like back myself up against a wall. Like when I'm in a crowded place, like an airport or whatever, or, you know, a market or a mall like that, I don't just stand in the middle like on my phone, like not paying attention. If I do have to look something up on my phone, I either sit down or I lean up against a wall so there's no one behind me and I can see in my peripherals around me better while I'm doing what I'm doing, you know, and I try to stay healthy and aware and alert, and I don't talk to strangers, I don't go off with people, I don't take the bait on scams usually, but it seemed legit at the time, and so that's why I want people to know that when it comes to Garza Blanca's Elite Diamond Resort, it's a timeshare. If you look up what a timeshare is, you're going to learn a lot about what that means. To some people, it's an automatic negative thing. It's extremely expensive. It's extremely time-consuming if you go through with this option. So look out at the airport. When you come out of that Cancun airport, I suggest you head straight to your ride, whether it be an Uber ride, a bus, the metro, or, you know, a rental car that you've purchased. Just get to your transportation and get out of that airport area where all those people are trying to scam you and sell you stuff. Be aware that it's going to be like that in touristy areas. Be careful, do your research, go online, watch these YouTube videos. I like to listen to real people's stories just like this. I watch a lot of YouTube videos so that I know what real people have done, what they've experienced. I appreciate when people share their experiences like this and provide tips and tricks. Keep an eye out, especially in the Cancun Strip like we did at the mall, for those stands, and know that they may not be the only resort doing that. So it's a very touristy area, and, you know, it's a very common thing for the rich elites to buy land for the sake of pure profit to what some would consider a very extreme level, which most people in the world don't have the luxury of even having the option to do. So this is like the 1% rich clan of people who own, run, maintain, manage, and stay at this resort. Keep that in mind. You know, that's what rich people do. They go to touristy areas, they make it into they commercialize it, they capitalize on it to profit from the land, you know, and that's why property is power and land is power. And so it's probably not going to be the only hotel that they try to scam you with in Cancun, but just know sometimes you have to be brave, and you're not going to be able to plan everything in advance. Sometimes you have to be brave, just take the leap, go there. It's not going to be as scary as it seems. Nowhere in the world really is. Some places might be. But in a touristy place like that, that's very Americanized, like, you're going to be fine. Just sometimes you have to be brave enough and, you know, watch what real people have done and go there and buy the ticket at the stand. You have to just get there and see for yourself. You know what I mean? It's some things you really can't do online, even in the world that we're living in today. So I recommend really doing your research, watching other YouTubers, reading blogs and real articles, not from like mainstream media or social media or just like the first thing you Google, but like real people on YouTube who like are established vloggers, travelers, you know, and know what they're talking about and are willing to share their real true stories, right? And testimonials. So speaking of testimonials, my book, Testimonials by Kelly Paratelli, is still available in all Schuler's local and independent bookstores in Michigan, as well as the link in the description through Barnes & Noble Self-Publishing House. And it is doing quite well. The reviews are very beautiful on the page. And now I'm merging into the world of real estate photography. I will still continue to travel. I will still continue to write and promote my book. And I will still continue to do how-to videos about self-publishing, reviews, live entertainment, art events, and photography and travel vlogging. So I do have playlists now on my channel highlighting these topics. The main one is travel vlogging, I believe. And then it goes into live entertainment, art and events, reviews, photography slideshows, and my self-publishing for my book are the main themes, titles, and playlists that I've created to better find my content on YouTube and hopefully improve the chances of the algorithms sending my videos and the SEOs to the top of the search list. So any support, again, is appreciated for my book, for my channel, from YouTube, and I hope this video helps people in regards to Garza Blanca's Elite Diamond Resort in Cancun, Mexico, which, by the way, is a chain. They have many of them throughout Mexico. I believe there's one in Cozumel and Tulum. So keep in mind that just because they try to tell you it's owned by a local doesn't mean that that local isn't one of the 1% billionaires with a B. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it helps you. I hope nobody else gets scammed in the tourist areas of Cancun, Yucatan Peninsula. I do hope this helps. Peace, love, and respect to you all. Ciao.